Hey Jews, I want to just say a bunch of things that are true. I invite you to listen to them, to think about them, to investigate them, to sit with them and see how you feel about them. What's your emotional reaction to the things I'm going to say? Okay, but no, none of this is my opinion. None of this is just me, making some sort of assumptions. No, this is all from the Torah. This is all from things that I have learned. Okay, I'm just going to say them out loud because I remember when I woke up in about 2014, 15, and in 2016 I contacted somebody who I saw on the internet who was wearing a black kippah, and before that I had zero interest in the Torah, zero interest in God and Judaism. Couldn't care less about it, didn't believe it, didn't have anything in common, I thought, and so therefore I didn't seek out a rabbi and to ask him all my questions. But I did see somebody on the internet, random internet, with a black kippah that sounded very smart, and he said in one of his interviews, he was giving a few interviews, he's a hero, saved a bunch of people from terrorist attacks here in Israel, and he was being interviewed, and I asked him, and he, in one of his videos. So by the way, I have a video called Cognitive Dissonance, Welcome to Your Jewish Awakening, because you will go through cognitive dissonance. Our world is being flipped upside down. Okay, now I just heard also that in Paris, I believe it is, some sort of hoity-toity university is no longer accepting Jews. Okay, what does that remind you of? It should remind you of the Holocaust. We should learn something from the Holocaust. Holocaust 1.0 in Germany, that started in Germany. This is how it starts. It shouldn't be a question in your mind anymore. This is one of the truths I'm trying to tell you right now that you may feel uncomfortable with. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to go back to normal. Look at what is happening around you and process this in your heads right now. Process it. Don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it. Don't turn away from it and say, well, it's not in your immediate consciousness. It's not in your immediate circle of what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. But it's happening over there in Paris. In Paris, okay? Just like it happened in Germany. It didn't happen like where you would expect it to happen, with all the barbarians of, like, let's say the Ukraine. If it had started in Ukraine, everyone would be like, yeah, well, the Ukrainians are animals, okay? But it happened in Germany, where everyone was sophisticated, where everyone was intellectuals, where art and music and philosophy and science were flourishing, and the Jews were part of that, and the Jews were integrated, and there was no difference between us and the Goyim, and then why would they hate us? And I mean, okay, we're not going to go through the whole thing. Obviously, we know what happened there. So I'm going to list a bunch of books that I think will be helpful. One of them is A Divine Madness by Rav Avigdor Miller. Okay, I'm going to put all these in my description in the description of this video. Okay, but as I was saying, when I was watching that video of that guy, one of the videos he said something like, and this was like 2015 or something, and he said, our enemies, the Arabs are our enemies, and I'm like, did he say that out loud? Like, I wasn't like super liberal, but I was like, I mean, I would never say that somebody's like, I wouldn't openly like say that. I mean, for me, it was like shocking to hear that. And I told him later on, I said, like, that was something for me that was like weird for me to hear. Okay. But, so some of these things may be weird for you to hear, but they absolutely have to be said. I think that they're pretty obvious right now. Okay. But for some reason, what I'm seeing is a disconnect between what's happening and what the actual truth is. Okay. And that's fine. I get it. It's hard and it's scary. But understand, we don't need to be scared, okay? We need to be, right now, we need to gather yourselves, okay? We've had some time after October 7th. Gather yourselves and do some research. Do some research into Olam Hazeh, this world, and which is called the world of lies, okay? Investigate that. Look, go in my description, I'm going to link all these books. Lies My Teacher Told Me. Okay, understand that when you go to public school, or to any university, the things that you're learning there aren't objective truths that everyone knows, even history, even whatever, philosophy, whatever. and you're learning it and you're soaking it up like a sponge, and then you're just regurgitating it, and that's now your life, and that's now your belief system. Things are bought and paid for, people. Bought and paid for. And I think that we all have had a little bit more understanding after COVID of that, right? Did COVID wake you up, you guys? At least now, can you go and research what was in that vaccine, all of the peer-reviewed, if you still believe in any of that. But I mean, look, there's lots of doctors, lots of nurses, lots of smart people. And there's lots of information now that you can go and look what was in the vaccine. Okay? Vaccine injuries, VARs, all the things. You should now be reserved. Don't turn away from the truth. Do not turn away from the truth. Okay? I know a lot of people who, growing up, when we talk about the Holocaust or something, I'm saying, like, I just don't understand. Well, why didn't they see it coming? Because it's like the analogy of boiling a frog, okay? This is an analogy my mom used to like to give to me about unhealthy relationships that a friend of mine was in for a really long time and couldn't get together because I had no clue what a healthy relationship really should be like, because we've all been brainwashed a little bit by Hollywood and Hollywood and all the other, novels and all other things that give us a certain concept of what things are supposed to look like, what truth is, what a lie is, what a truth looks like, what a lie looks like, what love looks like, what religious people look like and act like and how they are and what that means. Okay, so everything, it's not like you go to public school or to university and you're just developing your reason and you're literally probably just memorizing stuff that you're being told to memorize. It's been bought and paid for. Okay, so this is a great book, Lies My Teacher Told Me. In Jewish Blood, going back to the Holocaust, okay, and boiling the frog, because if you put a frog in boiling water, it will just jump out. So what you gotta do, in case anyone's considering boiling a frog, you have to put it in nice, warm, lukewarm water. Slowly turn up the heat. Slowly turn up the heat. Okay, until it's boiling and it's dead. Okay, so you lure the people in with just a tidbit of the truth, or mostly the truth. And then as things get crazier and crazier, then the lies just come out. Okay? So you lure them in with all these concepts of equality and feminism and, love is love and all these great things that are, and then it gets a little bit nuts after a while, okay? So in Jewish Blood, that's another good, that's a good book to read, kind of about the Holocaust, but also about Zionism. Now, I think that we're seeing a lot of people who think they know what Zionism is. Okay, you think you know what Zionism is, but I don't think you know what Zionism is if you're defending Zionism. Okay, and believe me, I'm like, I've been there. Obviously, I've been there. I understand. It's just a lack of Torah understanding. It's a lack of seeing. Look, the Torah is the objective truth, whether you want to believe that or not. And if you haven't studied and learned and been open to the Torah, then how would you know that it's not? Okay, I've been both places. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I mean, literally, I've dipped my toe in pretty much I was searching for God, until finally I'm thinking God was probably like, look, you're too stupid to find me at this point. I'm just gonna help you out a little bit. And Baruch Hashem, thank God he did. Okay, and so I'm here just to try to give you, look, just please open your mind. This is true information. Like I said, everything else is pretty much bought and sold. There is an agenda, whether you want to learn. I mean, look, now you don't even have to believe it or not. It's called agenda. Agenda. 20. Okay, great. Well, I tried to use the bigger board, but it's not going to happen anymore. Agenda 2030. Okay, so there is an agenda here. Okay, this agenda is the boiling you like a frog. okay? They didn't just do it all at once. Okay, they're playing the long game. The long game. This is generational. Okay? So, in Jewish blood, the Jews should keep quiet. It's another great understanding also about Reform Judaism. There's no Reform Judaism, guys. That's a lie. That's literally a lie. You can't have your foot in both worlds. You cannot be just like a goy in every way, but also a Jew. Okay? Hitler should have made that clear to you in the 30s when they went back 3 generations to find out who your grandmother was in order to classify you as a Jew. Okay? You can't just look like a Jew and look like a goy, have a goy name, do all goy things. And for anyone who's getting triggered by the word goy, the goyim know. Goy just means nation, okay? We're goy kadosh, a holy nation. Goy kadosh, we're supposed to be a goy kadosh, a holy nation, okay? And all the other goyim are just not holy nations. Not me, it's not my opinion. That's because the information of God in our reality went through a specific line, and it was coded and encoded and written down and verbally passed down from in the lineage from father to son in the Torah. So who are you going to trust, guys? At the end of the day, who are you going to trust? You're going to trust a bunch of psychopaths? Or are you going to trust literally your grandfather and his grandfather and his grandfather and his grandfather and his grandfather all the way back to Zaidi, to Bubby and Zaidi, Avraham and Sarah and God? Okay, so please go and look at all these books. There's also, as I always say, Ma'am Loaz. I'm going to put it in the description. Start learning Torah. Okay, start getting your brain right. So we're going to go back a little bit to Zionism right now. Okay, in just a recent video, I explained, if we know, like let's say things get really bad again. Okay, let's just use our imaginations and consider the fact that now all over the world, wherever you see people marching, which is all over the world, wherever you see anti-Semitism, which is all over the world, which is everywhere and everyone, and even people that you wouldn't expect, people who are supposed to be sophisticated, right? Rich, sophisticated, know-it-alls. Okay, they're wearing the red hand pin, which is, you don't have to tell them like, wait guys, I think you might have misunderstood this symbol. This symbol isn't, no, they understand what the symbol is. Okay, you guys don't understand that people are evil, I guess. They understand that symbol, that red hand is from the 2000s when those 2 Israelis got lost. Okay, and they drove accidentally into Jenin, and then they got slaughtered. They got ripped limb from limb. Okay, like we saw the achsariyut, the viciousness, and the delight in the murder. Okay, like we saw on October 7th. That's what happened in 2000s. And then the people dipped their hands in the blood, and then they came out to the window and they shoved it around everyone and cheered. Yay! So yes, they do understand that. The sociopaths and the psychopaths and the bought and sold useful idiots of the Hollywood know exactly what that red pin is, okay? So it's not going to help for you to waste all your time trying to explain to them, trying to explain to everybody that October 7th isn't a resistance movement. After all, they burst into a sovereign nation and just massacred the people. So you're not going to get anywhere anymore. Oh, see, here I go getting riled up again. I'm going to calm down. So what I'm trying to say is you really have to look around you now, guys, and understand, educate yourself in things that you don't want to be educated about. Okay, we don't want to look at the Holocaust and understand from there. I have a class called Are We Trauma Bonded to Israel, to the state of Israel? Are we trauma bonded? What is the Zionist state of Israel? As Jews, we know, okay, that there was the redemption from Egypt, whether you believe it or not, whether you just think that it was a natural phenomenon, that the Red Sea dried up and we were able to just walk over it. And then it wasn't right away. It wasn't like in the movies where we see, the Egyptians falling right on our heels and getting drowned. No, it was like 6 months later they came, and so therefore the water was, I know all this rationalization. I used it myself to just avoid thinking about God and thinking about Torah and acting and looking and being an actual Jew. Okay? But there should come a time when you wake up and realize that your reality doesn't make sense without the Torah. Okay? And please, I invite you, all of my videos are literally dedicated to this, to helping you understand reality from a Torah perspective, because it makes complete sense. So we all know that there is supposed to be a third temple. Okay, we all know there's supposed to be a Mashiach, whether we know what that means or not, whether some cults have made that kind of a weird nonsense notion right now, because they make it exactly like the Christians, where their Rebbe has died. Okay, that's a truth that you have to accept. The Rebbe has died. And I'm not going to even get into the truth of Chabad right now. That's a whole other thing, and I don't really feel like talking about it right now, but that's a lie. It's a lie. Their books were banned by the Gen from Vilna. They were put in Cherem. The guy died. He's not coming back to be the Mashiach, okay? So there is supposed to be the kingdom of David restored in the land of Israel. But what do we have here? We have now the state of Israel, which we are trauma bonded to. We are defending this state, which is instead of this, which is instead of Judaism. There is no Judaism. Please tell me, you guys, have you ever been to Israel? I live in Israel. How is this a Jewish country? How are you sitting there and saying, this is the only Jewish country, the Jews need this, or else it's going to be another Holocaust? Where did the last Holocaust happen? Okay, so there was Holocaust 1, I would say, happened in Germany. Everybody, including Bibi Netanyahu, all of these people are saying that the October 7th was a second Holocaust. It was just like the Holocaust, they tell us. It's just like the Holocaust. So it happened here. Where was IDF? Okay, all my other classes talk about this, but you should at least be honest about that. The IDF was nowhere to be found for 12 hours. 8 hours, 6, 8, 12, whatever, who cares? It should have been right away. Should have been, and not to mention the planning that happened for a year, not to mention the startup nation technology that could have, why do we have to send people? None of this should make sense to you, okay? And even Andrew Tate, okay, I'm gonna say what I saw. I saw Andrew Tate say something like, now they're not even bothering the sociopaths and psychopaths and evil people that are running our world. They don't bother to coat the lies anymore in something sugar-coated by saying like, oh, it's for your health. You all have to get in these vaccines because we care about you, and it's for your health, even though you know that they don't care about you. Okay? So now they're not going to do that. Now they're going to say things like, if you want to eat, if you want to be allowed to shop, if you want to have access to your money, then you better get this vaccination. Okay, so it's going to become brutal. Okay, and our sages tell us that, who is smart? Somebody who can learn from everybody. So that's true. That's a true statement. Thank you, Andrew Tate, for that. That's true. And we can see that here too in the Zionist state of Israel. Okay? No longer are they say, oh, the only place that you're going to be safe now is in Israel. Can you see that that's not true? Even though this whole entire time, there's been intifadas, there's been terrorist attacks, there's been random terrorist attacks this whole entire time that this state has existed. So, and even more than that, we as Jews, what separates the Jews from all the other goyim? We have the Torah, and we have the laws of the Torah. Okay, but over and over again, we're told that the state of Israel, this is not going to have the Torah laws. We're the international laws here, right? So in what way is Israel a Jewish state, a Jewish nation, a Jewish country? Keep telling yourself that it is, but there's no Shabbat here, for the most part. If you keep Shabbat, if you are a Jew, if you look like a Jew, if you study the Torah, if you keep Shabbat, if you're doing all these things, then you live mostly in a ghetto, okay? And I know this because I live in a ghetto. I live in a ghetto because I want to be around people who keep Shabbat. Okay, so I have very limited places that I can live, and I'm not talking about the Zionist religious people, which that's even more confusing for me. Okay, you worship the state then, but you keep Shabbat. So I mean, no, I want to be with people who, when the state tells you that you have to wear a mask and get injected, I want to be with people who are like, no, thank you, you're crazy. We believe in God. Okay, so if you were a Jew and you look like a goy and you do everything a goy does, and then what's your problem really with anti-Semitism? Okay, if you yourself also don't like the religious Jews, then what do you care if everyone doesn't? Are you scared now that there's going to be another Holocaust, another October 7th, wherever you are? Are you worried? Maybe you should be. Don't just turn around and be like, yeah, it's not gonna happen to us. We've lived our whole lives like that. That's what people in Germany used to say, okay? And then they if you see in Hollywood movies, they gathered up their furs and they packed their good silverware, whatever they could carry, and then they just dumped that all in the beginning of Auschwitz, where you can go and see in the museum, where you want to re-traumatize yourself every year before you celebrate our savior, the state of Israel. Yom HaAtzmaut, the Independence Day. So on Yom HaShoah, on the Holocaust Day, Holocaust Remembrance Day, you can go there and look at all the things that were discarded from their luggage, the big piles of luggage there. And it didn't matter. Didn't matter if they were rich or if they were poor, if they were city Jews or country Jews. Nothing mattered at that point, okay? So if we're waiting for the redemption, the Jews, if that's what Judaism is, in literally every part of the Torah and every prayer, everything, we're waiting and we're hoping and we're praying for the return of the temple, for the return of the kingdom of David, for the return of the judges that follow Torah laws in the land of Israel. And that's the redemption, this connection to God that we'll have. Okay, so what are you waiting for, Jew? What are you waiting for? Nothing? Are you waiting for nothing? If you're waiting for the redemption, why do you think you're going to be redeemed? Sorry to say it, but I want to ask you questions. Why do you think you're going to be redeemed, Jew? Just because you're a Jew? Just because you're a Jew? Just because you're a Jew, but you don't look like a Jew. You don't do any Jewy things. You don't keep kosher. You don't keep Shabbat. You don't look like a Jew. Your name isn't Jewish. Like how? Do you know, in Egypt also, there was only one tribe that was free. All the other tribes were slaves in Egypt. Levi wasn't a slave because they kept. Before the Torah was given, they kept it because before they had to write it down because they knew we would be stupid at this point. They all knew it off by heart. They just knew it off by heart, the whole thing. Okay? So they kept the Shabbat. They kept the Brit Milah. They didn't have the mezuzah and tefillin yet, okay? But they kept everything. They kept their Jewish names. They kept everything. If you want to assimilate so completely, then either somebody like a Hitler is going to go back 3 generations to identify you as a Jew, or identify yourself as a Jew so you will be saved. I believe it's in Malachi, the prophecy of Malachi, and I just heard Rabbi Kalazan talking about this. Something like at the end of time, it's like God is like, in a manner of speaking. Now, don't take the words when people say things like God is a jealous God or God loves this. It's words that we understand as people to try to understand something that is not understandable to us, unknowable. It's unknowable in a manner of speaking to understand really what God is. Okay, but we know that God at the end of time is going to have like a book. Okay, that's going to put all the names of the people he's going to save. Who's the redemption for? For the people who are keeping his laws. For the people who are waiting for him to come back. Those are the people that are totally happy right now, living in wherever you're living, acting in no difference between you and a goy. No difference between you. Goy couldn't care less about the Torah, couldn't care less about the Jewish people, couldn't care less. But now there is an awakening. So now I'm here to tell you, you have to do a little bit more. You have to do a little bit more. We're not going to continue on like this. It's not going to get better and better. You can see that with your eyes. you can see that it's not getting better and better. The anti-Semitism just died down after the mistaken understanding of October 7th. We got it all cleared up. Everybody now understands that it was a massacre. Everyone already stands like, you know, and now it's all cleared up and everything's going back to the way it was. That's not what's happening, right? So there are there's signs. There are signs between you and God, okay? Shabbat is one of those signs. The Brit Milah is one of those signs. That doesn't just mean the circumcision. It means also that you're careful with it. You don't engage in an immoral sexual activity. If you want, I'll explain more, okay? Let me know. Mezuzah. You should have mezuzah on all of your doors, inside too. These are some things I didn't even know. By the way, I didn't even know that there was something inside that mezuzah thing. It's the house of the mezuzah, the thing that you see. There's a scroll inside. It's got to be kosher. Tefillin. If you're a man, you have to put on your tefillin every day. That's a connection between you and God, and you're actually commanded to do it. Okay? And not in an impure state. Not like some lie places will just go slap those tefillin on you anywhere you are. So you're a Santa Claus you were dressed up as a Santa Claus in a mall, and they're just gonna go and put tefillin on you. Doy. Oh, you're a Orthodox Greek Catholic priest walking around King David's tomb leading a bunch of Christians. Oh, your great-grandparents might have been Jews, so we're just going to put tefillin on you. Yay! Let's use our big Jew brains, okay? Let's learn. So I'm sorry to say that the state of Israel isn't what I think you all think it is, okay? And Zionism isn't what you think it is. You got to learn now. You got to wake up and learn. What is it? What actually is Zionism? How did it come to be? Who was against it? The Torah scholars at the time, the Gedolei Ador, the big people in Torah, were against the formation of the state of Israel. Okay, let's just say now it's here. What are we gonna do? I'm not leaving. Who's gonna leave? We're not leaving. We have nowhere to go. We just see that now, right? Okay, but where should our worship be? Should it be the worship of the state? Or should we all perhaps start learning Torah and start learning what the other goyim are, what the other ideologies are? Let's say we know enough about that right now. Let's focus, okay? Let's focus now, okay? You got to open some books. You got to open your heart. Go see my video, Break Your Heart, Israel. Break your heart now. Break it yourself. Start doing some things to get you in the book. Because you know what? It also says that nation of Israel, we relate to God and God relates to us. So we relate to God on some levels as like he's our father. Okay, but we also relate to him like he's our master and like he's our king. Okay, amongst other things. Okay, so so it says also that there's going to be also groups of Jews all throughout history that are like Beit Yaakov, and that comes from here. Yaakov, Beit Yaakov, or Bnei Israel. So yeah, you are a Jew just because of your lineage. You are a Jew. You're a Jew, but it means more than just your lineage, okay? So if you're Beit Yaakov, this is like the physical kind of more part of the situation, and this is the spiritual, okay? But we all, who do you think, okay? Who do you think if the king's realm, or let's say the king's village, I don't know, kingdom, if the kingdom of the king is burning, or if things are going down, and you want to save the people there, first you're going to save your sons and daughters, then you're going to save the household, right? Then you're going to save everybody else, whoever you can, whoever has some sort of allegiance to the king. You're going to save those people, right? In that order, probably. So, things to think about, okay? Things to think about. I don't know, maybe. Shabbat shalom.